Hello guys, welcome to Daddy in the Dawn. It's week 2 of the NFL season and we've got Maca here on the case to bring you previews and score predictions from all 16 games from this week's matches. If you do enjoy the content in this video today, please remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell and leave a comment. We will get back to each and every one of you. We really appreciate all the support we get and it really does help out the channel. So now that's out of the way, I'll get you started by handing you over to Maca, who's ready and waiting with his...
Hi Phil, cheers for having me on, mate. We've got 16 games to get through, so without further ado, let's crack on. But before we do, please remember, guys, to like and subscribe, and let's get into this. The first game up, Thursday Night Football, sees the Minnesota Vikings travelling to the Philadelphia Eagles. Minnesota Vikings started the season with a disappointing loss at home to Tampa Bay, led by Baker Mayfield. This is the problem I find with the Minnesota Vikings, with Kirk Cousins. He's just too inconsistent. He turns the ball over too many times in good positions. I find he struggles at times to get the ball out to Justin Jefferson when he needs to. You can see the frustration throughout the game. Jefferson was getting frustrated at times, and they shouldn't be losing that. But that is the inconsistency of Minnesota, and I'm sure Minnesota fans, if you're listening, please put down in the comments if you agree, disagree. But I feel that they're too much of a yo-yo team. Again, Kirk Cousins could have great games, could have bad games, but ultimately, you've got weapons, and you've got Justin Jefferson, you've got an Addison, you've got a decent running back in Madison. You've got a great tight end in Hockenson. You need to be utilising these weapons regularly, and I just feel like Kirk Cousins was setting this team down on a regular basis, and it was proven first week of the season. They shouldn't be losing that game, but they did. On the flip side, Philadelphia Eagles, a great away win against the Patriots. Granted, I don't think Jalen Hurts had a very, very strong game. He had that costly fumble towards the end, but the defense held firm. Again, any team led by Belichick is going to be tough. And granted, if you go to Gillette Stadium and you're winning games, not playing well, shows a sign of a good team. For your quarterback not being on it, not being able to feed the ball to your target man in A.J. Brown, you've got Devontae Smith there too. I know they're going to improve. They're going to pick up, and I couldn't see this continuing this week moving forward against Minnesota at home. Thoughts of the game overall? I do believe Philly are going to win this comfortably. I just don't think Minnesota are going to be able to keep up with them. Granted, obviously with Jefferson, he's always going to be a threat, but I just feel the game's going to be out of reach too early. I feel that Hurts is going to sustain the run game with himself and his running back, three-horse running back pairing, whoever Philly decide to use. They change it every week, don't they? But I can see it being a quite comfortable win for them. It's going to be a long night for Minnesota. But ultimately, my final score is going to be Philadelphia Eagles 24, Minnesota Vikings 14. We move forward to the first of the 6 p.m. games, which will be the Green Bay Packers traveling to the Atlanta Falcons. Both teams have started the season off with a win, but we'll discuss the Green Bay Packers first. My Jordan Love, take a bow, fantastic. He had big pressure to fill in terms of filling the footsteps of the great Aaron Rodgers and the great Brett Favre. And a lot of people were saying this is going to be their worst season in many a year. But did he play well? Did the defense play well? Aaron Jones, did he play well? It was fantastic. They dominated the game from start to finish. He was superb. And you know what, fair play. I had my doubts over him. Yes, it's only 1 week. He could go back to being mediocre. Yes, it might be the Bears, and as Aaron Rodgers famously says, I own you. Well, the Packers own them, but he was impressive. And I'm sure Green Bay fans, if you're listening, are going to be getting excited. Moving forward, yes, granted, it's only 1 game, but I'm looking forward now to tuning into watching what Love can do for the Packers moving forward. Move forward to the Atlanta Falcons. It was a hard-fought win against Carolina. They just got away in the fourth quarter to seal the deal. My concerns with Atlanta, I'm not really sold on Desmond Ridder. I think he's quite handicapped to this team. Granted, they've got 2 great running backs. Firstly, obviously, Bijan Robinson, just drafted. He's going to be a beast moving forwards. And obviously, excuse me for botching it, Alijair, however you pronounce it, but you get who I'm talking about. The 2-horse monster running back. I'm sure they can carry that team. for many a season, many a games, however you call it. Arthur Smith did come out and say they're leaning towards the run this year. So I'm really intrigued to see how he's going to use the balance of both running backs. Granted, obviously Bijan Robinson's very, very strong in the passing game too, but obviously they've got weapons as Pitts and Drake London, which needs to be utilised too. My thoughts on the game is going to be a tough one because I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I think the clock's going to run quick because obviously with the rushing upside potentially for both teams. Just quickly, obviously we're not sure on Aaron Jones being available this week for Green Bay because obviously he tweaked his hamstring. So keep an eye on that. Obviously we're recording on Tuesday, but A.J. Dillon's more than capable of filling. But yeah, my prediction just quickly for the game. It'll be a tough one. I'm going to go for a Green Bay Packers 17-16 victory. I don't see many points, and it's going to be very, very slugfest, running ball quite a lot. So my final prediction is Green Bay 17, Atlanta Falcons 16. We now travel over to Las Vegas Raiders for the Buffalo Bills. Las Vegas Raiders, hard-fought first week 1 win at Denver. Tough place to go to. Jimmy Garoppolo with Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, how would it all come together? They got the win in the end, scraped it. Very, very hard place to go to, Mile High, but they got the win. Not the biggest fan of Jimmy Garoppolo. I think, again, he's very, very limited. I don't see him feeding the ball consistently to Devontae Adams as much as Derek Carr would or Aaron Rodgers would. He's just not like a quarterback, and he just doesn't throw over 30-yard passes much in the game. So he's going to handicap Adams quite a bit. And I do expect to see Josh Jacobs used a lot more this season. But again, granted, they got a great result away at Denver. It's not an easy place to go to against a Sean Payton-led team now. They're going to be very, very tough to beat. But it's obviously getting back on track with the Raiders. Traveling to Buffalo, it's not going to be an easy game. Buffalo Bills, I've just come off a very, very disappointing overtime loss to the Jets. Jets led by Zach Wilson, as we know, with Aaron Rodgers going down with that Achilles injury again, being recorded on a Tuesday. We're not sure if it's going to be season-ending or how severe it is. So, again, we're just waiting out for reports. Buffalo Bills were terrible. Josh Allen didn't look confident at all. Granted, he was feeding the ball quite a lot to Diggs. I'm not sure if the off-season drama they've had, is it now that he's too focused on wanting to feed the ball to Diggs when they've got so many other talented players such as Gabe Davis, has got a great running back in Cook, 2 great tight ends in Knox, and very, very interested to see what Kincaid do this year. But he didn't play his best. So granted, the Jets have had a great D, so I don't think he's going to overreact too much. I do expect the Bills to bounce back this week, but just be cautious and just see how Josh Allen's going to move forward, because I believe the defense did play well against the Jets. And again, week 1 it could just be rust, but I do expect the Bills to bounce back this week. My thoughts on the game overall: tough place to go into Buffalo. I believe it's going to be a tough one for Jimmy Garoppolo and crew. I do see Buffalo winning comfortably. Going to get their backs up. Sean McDermott's going to get their backs up after losing that overtime loss yesterday. And I've seen him winning it comfortably. I see Buffalo hitting 30 points. I really believe Las Vegas will score a couple of TDs, but it's going to be too much for me. I'm going to go for a Buffalo Bills 31, Las Vegas Raiders 17 win. We now move on to the third of the early games. The Baltimore Ravens travel to the Cincinnati Bengals, the AFC North Division rivalry game. We'll first of all discuss the Baltimore Ravens getting off to a week 1 victory over the Houston Texans. Granted, the end was very, very comfortable. They didn't really need to do much. Leaned on the defense to stop CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud threw 40 times in that game, I just must add. Which is a lot for a rookie to do in his first game. But they held firm. Lamar Jackson, he wasn't but he'd done what he needed to do. Granted, now obviously they've got J.K. Dobbins again for the year. I believe his career is going to be done now. So they're going to be relying more on Gus Edwards and Justice Hill moving forward, obviously with Lamar Jackson's rushing upsides. But what I found with Lamar Jackson again, I'm not sold. I don't know why he got that big contract. Again, please, fans, if you're listening in, please comment down if you think I'm wrong or no. I just don't think he warranted that contract. He's a good quarterback, but I think he's very handicapped, especially on his throwing abilities. But I'm here to debate if you disagree. But granted, they got the win at home. Very, very comfortable in the end. Pulled it away in the third or fourth quarter. Could ask for any more. You have to win a 0 start. So congrats to the Baltimore Ravens. Cincinnati Bengals, on the other hand, they were one of the biggest 2 or 3 letdowns of the week. They were terrible. Granted, obviously, I saw a stats before the start of the game that Joe Burrow struggles against the Cleveland Browns. And I actually didn't notice that Jim Schwartz is now the defensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns. I'm a fan of him and what we could do in the defensive side, not so much as a head coach, but they dominated. They dominated from start to finish. Joe Burrow couldn't get the ball out to anyone. They couldn't sustain the rush. It was a poor game. As a Cincinnati Bengals fan, would I be concerned? No. Because I believe he started 0-2 last year. Again, they didn't play in pre-season at all, so it's one of those. It's that debate. You give them a couple of drives in just to sort of feel it. I know Burrow was injured throughout the off-season and training camp, but it didn't look good. But I do believe it was just a one-off, and I'm sure they're going to bounce back. Zach Taylor's proven as he's a good head coach, and I'm sure he'll get his boys ready for this. It's a massive game. My thoughts on the game overall. I'm going to go for a Cincinnati bounce back. I see a lot of defense in this game, as North games tend to be quite low scoring. I'm going to go for a Cincinnati 21-17 result win to erase that loss from week 1. Again, it's not going to be pretty, but I believe Joe Burrow is going to respond in a positive way, beat their rivals, and then move on to 1-1. So my final prediction is the Cincinnati Bengals 21, Baltimore Ravens 17. We now move over to the Seattle Seahawks traveling to the Detroit Lions. Seattle Seahawks fans, are you listening? How do you feel about Geno Smith? I'm not a big fan of Geno Smith at all. I think he was very, very overhyped. I think he was a very, overhyped year, if you want to call it, overrated year. He had that one good year last year. I just don't believe he's the quarterback for the future for the Seattle Seahawks. He's very, very handicapped. His decision making's wrong. They shouldn't be losing a game to the Rams. The Rams are depleted, and they got dominated. Simple, at home. Obviously, being the 12th man, I felt Seattle obviously been a tough place to go to, but the Rams just dominated from start to finish. Again, love to know everyone's opinions on this. They're very, very poor. They've got weapons all around. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker. They've got the rookie wide receiver too, so I can't remember his name, but they've got weapons throughout. And I just don't trust Geno Smith. And I didn't really like the way the defense was handling Matt Stafford as well. Matt Stafford had really nobody to throw to, and he looked comfortable. He won comfortably. Seattle fans, are you concerned? Because I would be. Moving over to the Detroit Lions, fantastic week 1 result against the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions. Granted, you did get your luck. I think the play calling from Andy Reid was very, very negative in terms of them short 4th downs. They could have made that. You got the best quarterback in the league, in my opinion. He's going to make two yards. But, let's not take anything away from Detroit. Great win. It's hard to go to Arrowhead, let alone that they're the Super Bowl champions of last year. Despite not having Kelsey, Pat Mahomes will make anyone a legit weapon. Drop balls from Tony and Sky Moore, a couple of others will be. Let's not take away from Detroit. Fantastic. Jared Goff did what he needed to do. I do believe, though, he's quite handicapped for the Detroit Lions. And I just feel the Detroit Lions potentially are one decent quarterback away from really sustaining a massive, legit Super Bowl run, because the defense looks pretty tidy now. And Dan Campbell looks like he's really, really again, these boys motivated on a weekly basis. So my thoughts on this game, Detroit are going to win this comfortably. I'm very worried for the Seattle defense. I think Detroit are going to lay 30 points on them. Granted, Seattle will probably respond with a couple of TDs, but I think it's going to be a long, long day for the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to go for a 34-21 win to the Detroit Lions. Detroit go to 2-0 and looking legit. looking legit. Seattle fans, on the other hand, you're going to go to Northern 2, and I'll be very, very concerned. But my final score is the Detroit Lions 34, Seattle Seahawks 21. We now move on to the Indianapolis Colts traveling to the Houston Texans. We'll firstly discuss the away team, the traveling team, the Indianapolis Colts. Indy fans, you listening? How do you feel it went first week? I felt you was very, very competitive. Granted, Jacksonville just pulled away at the end. Do you like what you see from Andy Richardson? I was quite impressed. Granted, we had that weird turnover play from the Jags, that weird time where the rookie running back had the ball in the hand and obviously Indy punched out, but we all play to the whistle, as they say. Again, Jacksonville showed their experience towards the end, but without Jonathan Taylor, a few of these young guys making plays, could Pittman be a legit threat with Richardson? Could they get that connection? I think it's going to be very interesting, and I believe that it wasn't the most of disappointing losses week one because you kept it close. I think positive signs are ahead. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year, but you got a rookie quarterback, and he looked quite impressive for first week of the season. Moving over to Houston, I'm a massive Ohio State fan and a massive CJ Stroud fan, but you were making him throw the ball 40 times in his first game. Wow. Away at Baltimore too. It's not an easy place to go to. I just thought the game got away from him a little bit. He had a few good passes, a few mistakes, which is expected as a rookie. And I just felt I want to see a little bit more of him moving forward, especially this week against Indy. Granted, throwing the ball 40 times, that's a lot. But what I like about Houston is they've got a great head coach. I'm really, really big fan of D'Amico Ryan. And he's going to get the defense sorted. I really believe that Houston can win a few games and put a few wins together this year. If CJ Stroud could just get the offense going. Granted, it was his first game in the NFL, so we've got to come a little bit of slack. So we're coming into this game with two rookie quarterbacks. It's going to be an interesting one. Again, it's a group game. I won't see many points in this. I think similar to the Atlanta Green Bay game I predicted, I believe it's going to be hard fought running, a lot of time with the clock quick. And I think we're one of the first games to finish this week. Our prediction, it's a tough one because I've been tossing and turning with this one, but I'm going to go for a Houston win. I think they're going to leave it late with a late field goal to nick it. CJ Stroud's going to take him down the field, get a field goal, an expired time to win. My result will be 2017 to Houston. Granted, no shame in Indy losing this game. It's a learning curve year for them. Shane Steichen is the head coach too. Both first time new head coaches too. So it's going to be an interesting one, despite being a group game with two good rookie quarterbacks. It's going to be a very, very interesting watch. But again, low scoring affair for me. And Houston going to get this one 2017. We now turn our attention to the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll firstly discuss the Kansas City Chiefs. Unfortunately, week one, opening game of the season. Opening night for the NFL, Kansas City Chiefs, reigning Super Bowl champions, go down to a narrow loss to the Detroit Lions. It was a very, very disappointing result. I felt obviously without Kelsey being there, Pat Mahomes was sort of limited in terms of his firepower of weapons. But granted, they didn't help him at all. Tony dropped too many balls, granted, and I think if you give him them all again, I'm sure he would at least catch half of them. It was just everything seemed to be falling in Detroit's favour that night. I didn't like the play call, and if it was Andy Reid or Matt Nagy made the decision for the 4th and 2s to kick field goals, when I thought they could have gone for it. Obviously, on the defensive side, not having Chris Jones was a massive loss. Now we've heard that he's agreed to, I believe, a 1-year deal. If anyone wants to correct me on that, but he'll be back against the Jags. Obviously, Travis Kelce, I'd expect to be back. There's no confirmed news of that. At this moment of recording, he's still questionable. Yes, it's only Tuesday in the week, so I'm sure we'll get a few more reports in the week, but I'd expect both, obviously, Chris Jones to be playing and Travis Kelce, and obviously that's Pat Mahomes' weapon, go-to guy. Jacksonville, it was a hard slog against Indy. Obviously, it's a group game. No group games are easy, but they've done the job well. At the end, they moved away. When the game was sort of going towards Indy, they were losing, and then managed to pick up a couple of TDs, one for the rookie running back. And in the end, it was comfortable. Probably wasn't a deserved 10-point win, but Jags look like a decent threat. I think they're the favourites to win the AFC South this year. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, big year for him. He's got weapons now with Calvin Ridley, Kirk, Etienne. Their defence has improved. I believe they are the strongest team in the AFC South, and I do think it's their title. But my concerns for this game is I think you're going to get a resurging Chiefs team point out to prove it. They've had obviously 10 days to prepare for this. Kansas obviously playing last Thursday. I think they're going to be playing pissed off football. It's going to be an entertaining game. I think it's going to be very, very high scoring. I can see it going back and forth, back and forth. I can see loads of points. Both quarterbacks playing well. Both Etienne, I think the workhorse, the running backs for the Kansas City Chiefs are going to do well. Pacheco, I'm a big fan of him. I want to see a bit more of him moving forwards. I don't know about his injury status at the moment. I remember he limped off. I don't know if he come back on. I'm just trying to remember. But they're exciting weapons on both sides of the field. Very, very entertaining. But I do believe Kansas are going to go into Jacksonville and get the win, get back on track, and look to defend their Super Bowl trophy. So my prediction for the game is going to be Kansas 38, Jacksonville 31. The second to last of the early slates, we move on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the Chicago Bears. Firstly, we'll talk about the visitors, and here we go again. The Justin Field talk is up and running already, and another poor outing for him. An Ohio State product. He's had a lot of pressure on his shoulders since he's come into the league, and the fact that the Bears traded their first-round pick of this year's draft because they like what they see in Justin Fields. It was very, very disappointing. There were high hopes this year. Hopefully getting the monkey off the back in terms of beating the Green Bay Packers because there was no Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre there. But Jordan Love and Aaron Jones teared them to shreds, and the defense was fantastic. Turning the ball over, sacking, they were annihilated. And it's very, very concerning for Justin Fields moving forward, and especially in this matchup because Tampa Bay have got a very, very good defense. He's going to be under pressure all game. And grinding, I just feel he's on a bit of borrowed time. The more he's going to be losing games, the more pressure is going to be put on his shoulders. And at some point, is he going to say they're going to pull the plug? Enough's enough. I mean, they're investing in this guy heavily, and I'm very, very disappointed for him and the Chicago Bears. And he wasn't a great start to the season, especially being at home. And I'm struggling to think how they're going to get back onto winning terms. Going to Tampa is going to be tough. Granted, moving over to the Tampa Bay Bucks, it's Baker Mayfield. He had a very, very minimum game. You call it. He done what he needed to do at Minnesota. Got a job done, went down the field when needed to. Got the points when needed. But again, very, very limited quarterback too. It's going to be quite a frustrating game, I feel. Both frustrating teams to watch. The only difference you can split at the moment is obviously Tampa getting that win away. Back and forth thinking about this game is probably one of the most games I've been thinking about because I just don't know what way I'm going to turn in terms of picking a winner. But I think I'm going to go for the Tampa Bay Bucks. I can't really say much positive about this game. Can we see a Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans combo? I'm struggling to think of positives for this game. I'm just hoping that, for me, Justin Fields responds positively. But I just can't see it this week. I think Tampa Bay are going to be all over him, running him ragged. And I think they're going to win the game comfortably. Another low-scoring affair. And it's worrying times for Chicago. So my prediction for the game is Tampa Bay at 21, Chicago Bears 17. We now move on to the final of the early kickoffs. The LA Chargers traveling to the Tennessee Titans. The LA Chargers have just come off a very entertaining end-to-end defeat at home to the Miami Dolphins. What a game. Game of the week. end to end. It was fantastic. Offensive side, the defense was terrible. Couldn't stop Tua or Tyreek Hill. Fantastic combo them to have started the season. But it was a very, very poor outing. I'm a Dallas fan myself, and I'm sure Chargers fans are encouraged to see after week one what they've got from Kellen Moore. And his sort of plans moving forward. They've got tools everywhere. The Ecklers, they've kept Josh Kelly around. They see highly of Josh Kelly, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, the rookie wide receiver too, and a good quarterback in Justin Herbert. They're going to be a very entertaining team. I think they're going to be a team they're going to be leaking a lot of points. So be prepared to see 30-plus points scored regularly for the Chargers. Could possibly be the number one offense this year. Who knows? Tennessee, on the other hand, I mean, I think Ryan Tannehill's done. I think he showed some glimpses over his time in sort of Miami and the start of his tenure in Tennessee, but he looked poor against the Saints. He looked very, very poor. You've got a legend running back, a certain Hall of Famer running back in Derrick Henry, who's running behind, arguably the top three worst offensive line in the league. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think he's going to be struggling this year. And again, I don't think he's going to be in much use because I feel they're going to be down in many games this year. I'm a big fan of Mike Vrabel as a head coach, but I worry that if they continue to lose these games or go on a bit of a losing streak start of the season, I feel his job's going to be under threat. Now, is it the point of saying that give Tannehill this game and another game, then pull the plug on him? I don't know. I'm not too sure. I think Tannehill's run his race. And in this, especially against the Chargers D, you're hoping that they're going to be able to pick up some momentum, some points. Granted, they probably will, but I believe the Chargers offense is going to be too strong for the Tennessee Titans. And I think they're going to run away with this result comfortably. So my final result is going to be the LA Chargers 34, the Tennessee Titans 24. We now move on to the later slate of games. The first of two 9:05 games. Probably the game I'm least looking forward to watching, and I think a lot of people will agree with me, is the New York Giants traveling to the Arizona Cardinals. Wow. Let's talk about the Giants first. What a shambles of a week one. I'm going to put it out there now. I am a Dallas Cowboys fan. It was fantastic to see what result we had, but God, the Giants were awful. A lot of people seem to forget as well, if you watch the game, the first drive, they looked pretty decent and they go into field goal range. And then from that field goal, it all went wrong. Obviously, we've blocked the field goal, returned it, and then we've literally just annihilated them for 60 minutes. Great result for Dallas. The Giants, I feel they were sort of overhyped last year with Brian Dable and Jones. He's very, very limited quarterback. He's very good with his feet. He's not a very good runner, a very good thrower. I don't like his mechanics. And I believe that it could be his last year in New York. I think they're going to look for a quarterback next season. I'm not, again, the biggest fan of him. They have got some weapons. They've just acquired Darren Waller. They've got Saquon Barkley. And the defense isn't too bad. Granted, obviously, there was returns, pick six. So it wasn't all down to the Dallas offense because we didn't have much to do. They really didn't have much to do in that game, but it was just a capitulation. It happens once in a blue moon for teams, and unfortunately for the Giants, it happened on Sunday night. Arizona Cardinals, I do not know what's going on with them. It feels to me like they're tanking for the number one pick next year to get Caleb Williams. The Kyler Murray experiment's done. He sort of dug his own grave, in my opinion. He's too arrogant. He, on his day, could be a good quarterback. I don't think he's great. But for me, it feels you're starting Joshua Dobbs. I'm not looking forward to watching this at all. This game's going to stink. They battled well against Washington. Washington, a very limited team. But they did battle well away from home. But Cardinals fans, I think you're going for the number one pick next season. So be prepared potentially for I know in 17 won 16 season this year, but this game I'm not looking forward to, and I don't think many people will. Very, very low scoring. I think the Giants will come out on top of this quite comfortably. I'm going to go for a New York Giants 20, Arizona 10 result. So Giants get to 1-1, Arizona 0-2, and let's just see where they go from there. So the final result is New York Giants 20, Arizona 10. The second of the 9:05 games takes us to the Rams, who are hosting the San Francisco 49ers. Both come off a very, very convincing wins. We'll talk about the visiting team as we have done throughout this video first. The San Francisco 49ers, they look like a unit. There was a lot of questions in the off-season about this Brock Purdy one-hit wonder, or one-season wonder, shall we say. They've just acquired, obviously, Sam Darnold too. And then they've just traded the other quarterback to Dallas this year. So they're investing a lot of time in Brock Purdy. And you know what? He away at Pittsburgh, first game of season, is not an easy place to go to. Mike Tomlin, Hall of Fame coach. I've been a massive fan of Mike Tomlin and what he could do for that team. Never had a losing season. And they annihilated him, literally from start to finish, absolutely annihilated him. Defense was strong, turned the ball over when they needed to. Brock Purdy done what he needed to do with the drives, getting touchdowns, field goals. McCaffrey, a lovely run. Got Brandon Ayuk there, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. They're going to be a force to reckon with this year with a tough defense. Could they go all the way this year? They're certainly going to make the playoffs. How deep can they go? Let's see. The Rams were a bit of a surprise package for week one. People saying Seattle -5.5 was too short. They should have been double figures. Obviously, no Cooper Kupp there. I couldn't tell you pretty much most of the Rams' offensive weapons, if I'm honest. But they dominated in Seattle. They dominated them. They played awesome. Matt Stafford was tidy. He'd done what he needed to do. The defense kept Geno Smith busy all game, and they thoroughly deserved the win. It didn't look in doubt at all. Got to the fourth quarter, got the ball, got a 2-possession lead, and they just ran on the clock. And they thoroughly deserved the win. Moving on to this game, my thoughts. It's going to be a tough game for the Rams. It's a group game. Again, as we discussed, group games tend to be quite tight affairs, but I think this San Francisco team is very, very talented and very, very special. And they've got weapons in all positions. And I think it's going to be a real struggle for the Rams. I see San Francisco winning this very, very comfortably. They move on to 2-0. The Rams 1-1, no shame losing this one. I feel the game's going to get away from them pretty early, similar to how San Fran did it against Pittsburgh. And then it's going to keep the foot on the throttle and just get clear. So my final prediction for this game is going to be San Francisco 28, LA Rams 10. We now reached the 9:25 games. There's two of them, but the first one we're going to discuss is the New York Jets traveling to my beloved Dallas Cowboys. We'll quickly discuss the Jets. The game has obviously just been played this morning. Obviously, sad news about Aaron Rodgers. We don't know the final reports of his injury. They were talking about season-ending Achilles. Granted, even if it's not season-ending, he's going to be missing some time. So the Zach Wilson show recommences again. He done what he needed to do yesterday against a good Buffalo team. Yes, I don't think Josh Allen was on form, but if their defense can keep playing like they do, they can carry this team with a limited Zach Wilson to places. And who knows if Aaron Rodgers' injury isn't as worse feared as they're reporting, and he comes back towards the end of the season, just in time for another deep playoff run. Who knows? But it's going to be a very, very, very long night for the Jets coming to the Cowboys, moving over to them. Our defense was outstanding against the Giants, dominated. Obviously, from that first drive, from that block field goal, it was all us. Dak didn't have much to do. I'm not sold on Dak. For people that know me, I'm not his biggest fan. I think he's very, very limited. He's cost us him many times. Silly throws. I just don't trust him. But again, similar to the Jets and Wilson, if defense can sustain it all season, who knows? Dak needs to do what he needs to do. on Sunday when we had the ball and he was drive downfield, picked out CD Lamb, Brandon Cooks had a couple of catches. We've got Michael Gallup, obviously Tony Pollard too. So we've got weapons, but I do believe we're going to rely heavily on our defense this year. Thoughts on this game? Obviously, with Aaron Rodgers, it kind of sucks. It brings it down a little bit for the hype. I do believe Dallas will win this week. I think both quarterbacks will be troubled by the defenses. I believe it's going to be a very, very low-scoring affair. It's going to be very, very cagey. But Dallas being at home, and I will take the better quarterback, and I believe the better team overall, which is the Dallas Cowboys, to get this result in the end. Granted, it's not going to be easy. Again, I can see a lot of sacks in this game. Few turnovers, few field goals, a low-scoring affair, but Dallas, I think, will have enough to pull away. I'm going to go for a Dallas 20, Jets 14. The second of the 9:25 games takes us to Denver v. Washington. We'll firstly talk about the visiting team, the Commanders. Got away with it against Arizona. Arizona had a chance with that final drive to cause an upset. But the defense held firm. Obviously, come away with a win. My concerns with the Commanders is there's a lot of hype about Sam Howell. For me, I don't see it. He didn't play well at all for me. Again, this is an Arizona team that are tanking this year. I don't feel many people know most of their players on their roster, but they made a real struggle of it. And for the hype Sam Howell was shown, okay, yes, it's 1 week and, got to give him some time. I wasn't impressed. The head coach, I don't know what he's doing. Ron Riviera, I do not know what he's doing. They've just got new ownership. I can't see Ron Riviera, if they start losing games lasting half the season, I think he'll be one of the first head coaches to be sacked again if they start losing games. And I think he is on borrowed time. I don't think Sam Howell's going to help his case at all. I could see Washington being the weakest team in the NFC East this year. But granted, they got the win week 1 against Arizona. So obviously it's going to cheer up a few Washington fans, even if they're listening to this, probably upset with what I'm saying. But I've got to be honest in my opinions here. Moving over to the Denver Broncos, that was a very, very disappointing home loss to the Raiders. Russell Wilson looked a little bit better with Sean Payton. He looked more confident, but it just feels limited. But no, I felt that they should have won that game comfortably. Again, it was a tight-fisted affair. I didn't enjoy watching it. They kept going to the game quite a lot. Obviously, both two good defenses playing that day. And Russ Wilson just didn't have enough in it to take the team down to win the game. My thoughts on this one is probably similar to the Arizona Giants. I'm really not looking forward to this game, and I really haven't thought too much about this. If you had to just watch this game, I'd probably have to try and watch something else on TV. It's not. If it was a primetime game, I certainly wouldn't be watching it. I don't know. I'd like to know your opinions if you are listening to this far. If you're not sick of me talking already, but let's go for. I think Denver are going to win. It's frustrating for me to even talk about this right now. Try and get it out. I think Denver are going to win. I think they're going to hit 21 points. I'm going to go for a Denver 21, Washington 10 results with Sean Payton and Russ Wilson getting their first wins together. So final result, Denver Broncos 21, the Commanders 10. We now move on to Sunday Night Football. The Miami Dolphins traveling to New England Patriots. Let's talk about the visitors, the Miami Dolphins. Well, what an incredible result. Game of the week, away to the Chargers. What a game that was. End-to-end, breathtaking, fantastic. Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, incredible. Tua deserves a lot of respect. I was a fan when he came out of college, and he wasn't performing as well. And I thought, here we go again. An Alabama product, fantastic player. And yes, granted, only one game. I think we need to rewind back to last year with his 2 concussions. There was a lot of talk he was never going to play again. He's been doing some, I believe, jiu-jitsu in the off-season, so that sort of helps him in terms of if he's going to get hit to be able to roll to avoid his head being hit. He's really taking this seriously, looking after himself, which is fantastic to hear. And you know what? I think a lot of neutral fans can say it was really good to see to have that performance on Sunday. Thoroughly deserved with a beast. They call him the cheater Tyreek Hill. Don't forget Jalen Waddle or the running backs Mostert and whoever the other one is. They had Ahmed as well. He was Ahmed. They've got weapons. And as long as Tua can stay healthy, I think they could be fine. I think they could really, really cause problems this year. I think they can make the playoffs. They can go deep in the playoffs. I think Fangio's been appointed the defensive coordinator. It's going to take them a little bit of time to get to his sort of philosophy, but they look impressive. They look very, very impressive. So it's going to be an interesting watch this year. They're going to be definitely one of the teams to look out for this year. Moving over to the New England Patriots, that was a hard loss against Philly. They seemed out of it. They come back. It just seems to be the Patriots way. Give you a sniff and then they just lose it. Are we sold on Mac Jones? Is he an issue? They've just obviously acquired Bill O'Brien from Alabama as their offensive coordinator. I'm a fan of Bill O'Brien. I think he's a fantastic offensive coordinator. They were trying out last year, Matt Patricia and whoever else who's running the offense. It was a mess. Got to give them time. They come back. Well, they had a chance. They turned the ball over from Hurts. They had the chance, and he just didn't get his own foot in bounds. If they caught that, they're in the red zone, 10 yards, wherever it may be. They have a chance to win the game against Philly. So disappointing loss at home, but I wouldn't be too concerned. We'll have to wait and see what happens in this game. To make your judgment moving forward in terms of what you think of Mac Jones and the coaching staff and etc. But they've got a Bill Belichick run defense, and with that, they're always going to be a force to be reckoned with. My prediction for the game, it's a tight one. It's a very, very tight one. I think it's going to be entertaining, but I'm going to go with the form team at the moment. I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I'm going to go for a Miami Dolphins 27, New England 24. Again, a very, very good Sunday night football. But Patriots fans, if you're listening, are you going to be concerned if you go 0-2? And Miami Dolphins fans, if you're listening, are you going to be the real deal this year? So my final prediction for this game is Miami Dolphins 27, New England 24. The first of the Monday Night Football games sees the New Orleans Saints traveling to the Carolina Panthers. The New Orleans Saints have just come off a hard-fought win against the Tennessee Titans. Done what they need to do. Game wasn't the best of games. Very, very New Orleans Saints-ish result of late. Grinding out them sort of wins. But thoroughly deserved. I'm looking forward to seeing what Derek Carr could do moving forwards. Massive fan of Chris Olave. Massive. I'm really looking forward to see what we could do this year. I tipped him to be a top 5 wide receiver this year. Obviously, they've got Michael Thomas, obviously Derek Carr, the quarterback. Kamara's coming back from suspension in a couple of games' time. So it's going to be an interesting watch this year for them. They're going to be a team that I do like Derek Carr. I think he can throw the ball around. I think he's certainly going to aid to Chris Olave a lot this year and Michael Thomas to that effect. But it wasn't. We saw glimpses. Again, got to give them time. It was their first game together and they got the win. So all good from New Orleans fans' perspective. Moving over to the Carolina Panthers, a very, very tough full loss to the Atlanta Falcons. They were in the game for pretty much most of it till the fourth quarter, where the Falcons went 2 scores clear. Again, this is Bryce Young's first game in the NFL, and again, in terms of watching Richardson and my Ohio State, CJ Stroud's product, I thought he done well. I liked what I saw. Again, we can't judge these people on one game, but I can comment on what I saw, and I liked it. First game in, I think he's going to have plenty more chances to showcase his talent, and this is the sort of game where you can feel that they can win this. And if Bryce Young can play, we all know he can, I think they can upset the Saints. Moving on to my prediction for the game. It's a tough one. I'm going to probably side towards a visiting team in a close affair, a low-scoring affair. I think Derek Carr is going to have that one sustained drive at the end of the game to get him through to on the field goal. So my final result is going to be the New Orleans Saints 20, the Carolina Panthers 17. Cleveland Browns traveling to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Cleveland Browns have just come off a fantastic win against the Cincinnati Bengals, and now they travel to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Very impressed with the Cleveland Browns after week one. Just, again, it's going to be drama late on, but I feel that Cleveland will just have enough to pull away. And I'm going to go for a Cleveland 18, Pittsburgh Steelers 17. The final game of the week sees the Cleveland Browns traveling to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Cleveland Browns have just come off a fantastic win against the Cincinnati Bengals, and now they travel to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Very impressed with the Cleveland Browns after week one. Dominated all phases of the ball. New defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz in there now. Very impressed with him. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Offensive side, I need to see a little bit more from Watson, Chubb and Co. This is like, for me, Watson needs to prove all this year to a lot of doubters, and obviously he's off-field drama. But again, if they got a defense to rely on, they might not need to do too much, but at some point they're going to be relied upon, and I want to see where Deshaun Watson was back from these Houston days, and we're still waiting to see that. But with a legend like we got Nick Chubb running back, anything's possible. Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm sorry, I really hope there are some fans in here. I'm just not a fan of Kenny Pickett. I don't know what fans see in him. I think he's one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league. Yes, he went to the Pittsburgh Uni. That's why you drafted him. But he's very, very limited, in my opinion. And he showed it on Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers. Granted, I could be wrong. And please leave your comments what you think. You think I'm being a bit too harsh or I'm judging him too early. I didn't like what I saw last year. Only one or two decent games, but the rest of the he's very, very limited. I feel Mike Tomlin is the main guy that gets him the wins, because if he has a losing season and he puts his team in the best position to win. So, if it's the basic passes for Kenny Pickett or whatnot, he doesn't have the run game, and I feel that his wide receivers are inconsistent at times as well. So, yes, granted, you can say, well, you can't blame it all on Pickett. Maybe so, but from what I've seen of him, I'm not the biggest fan of him. So, but, we can debate that in the comments if you need to. I'd like to know your opinions on that. But I'd like to be proven wrong, and I hope I'll be proven wrong. But at the moment, I can't see Kenny Pickett being that franchise quarterback that Pittsburgh needed when they had Ben Roethlisberger. So we'll see how long this journey is going to take them. My prediction for the game, again, it's not going to be the most entertaining of games, being a group game. And again, the AFC North doesn't tend to provide high-scoring drama. It's normally tough offensive, defensive line slugs, a lot of running, pounding, sacks, picks, and I could see it being the same this week. Mike Tomlin v Jim Schwartz should be an interesting one. I'm going to go for the travelling team to nick this. Again, it's going to be drama late on, but I feel that Cleveland will just have enough to pull away, and I'm going to go for a Cleveland 18, Pittsburgh Steelers 17.